The Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. How these testaments of the 12 Patriarchs were first found, and by whose means they were translated out of Greek into Latin. These testaments were hidden and concealed a long time, so as the teachers and the ancient interpreters could not find them. Which thing happened through the spitefulness of the Jews, who, by reason of the most evident, manifest, and often prophecies of Messiah that are written in them, did hide them a long while. At length, the Greeks, being very narrow searchers out of ancient writings, sought these testaments warily, and got them more warily, and translated them faithfully out of Hebrew into Greek. Nevertheless, this writing continued yet still unknown, because there was not any man to be found that was skillful, both in the Greek and Latin, nor any interpreter that might procure the translation of this noble work, until the time of Robert II, surnamed Rodsted, Bishop of Lincoln, who sent diligent searchers as far as Greece to fetch him a copy of the said writing, without respect of their charges, which he bare most liberally. Therefore, to continue the memories of those most lightsome prophecies, to the strengthening of the Christian faith that Reverend Bishop did in the year of our Lord 1242, translate them painfully and faithfully, word for word, out of Greek into Latin, in which two tongues he was counted very skillful, by the help of Mr. Nicholas Greek, parson of the Church of Datchet, and chaplain to the Abbot of St. Albans, to the intent that by that means the evident prophecies which shine more bright than the daylight might the more gloriously come abroad to the greater confusion of the Jews, and of all heretics and enemies of the Church of Messiah, to whom be praise and glory forever. Amen. To the Christian reader. Albeit, these are happy days in some respect, good Christian, have and enjoy divers and sundry works tending to the subversion of Belial and the erection of godliness. Yet, considering that as earthly, so we spiritual soldiers seldom run to the watch without alarm, I thought it convenient to call upon you with this grave and godly book, of long time hid in Hebrew, now come to light in English. The malice of the Jewish people in concealing it, by reason of Messiah the righteous so often prefigured, was intolerable. But the singular providence of God in preserving it, unspeakable, and now at last, though chargeable, yet fruitful, is the expressing and printing in our natural language of this so worthy, so golden a writ, being of itself without the accessory painting of eloquent speech, a mirror for princes, a preacher for all Christians, a beautiful glass for women, for children, servants, and such like, a wise, plausible, and most ready schoolmaster, for to apply to every particular estate his peculiar property. Art thou a prince, a magistrate, a ruler, let Judah rule thee. If thou thinkest upon manly courage, he teacheth valiantness. If thou seek to govern aright, he willeth thee to fly tyranny. If thou thirst after manners of life, he foundeth it out, that vain glory, fornication, and discord blemish, weaken, and at length utterly consume nobility. Let me proceed further and ask a question. Art thou a bishop, a minister, a preacher of Messiah's birth, life and death? Behold Levi as a lanthorn. Thou canst teach thyself, but he can teach thee better. Thou speakest to others, hearken to him that talketh to thee of thy office. How holy it is, how honourable, the contemners thereof how miserable. By whom began, continued, and confirmed of thy state of life, what and how it should be, nunquam fine sail, fine soul. To be short of thy blessedness, if thou art godly, wise, and learned, of thine and their plagues where thou livest, if wicked and ignorant. What should I say more? Look upon Jacob, O you parents, peruse the 12 godly fathers in time and order, learn of him and his, to pray to Jehovah in Messiah Yeshua, his name for your children. Have regard to their instruction, the want of the former your children shall miss. The neglect of the latter you yourselves shall bewail. For the hearty prayer of a father to the Almighty for his children is a right singular benefit, but he that for foolish pity giveth them the bridle, is before Jehovah accounted a guilty partaker of this sinful race. View this book therefore, hearken how to teach yourselves and your children. You have already handled a sick man's salve. Enjoy not at length a sick man's tongue, to instruct them when you leave them, and what to leave them when you die. Else their end will be lamentation, but yours lamentable misery. And come you hither, you children of the earth, read, see and say, that old father Reuben with his good brethren readily and rightly described the blessed path of righteousness, and the forlorn way of Belial, the one to fly, the other to follow. Wilt thou begin with the eldest, for that old age seemeth wisest? Stop not then the ears of thy heart and body to so wise and sweet a charmer. O the number, O the uglysome portraiture of those deadly spirits that he hath so orderly numbered and cunningly coloured. Lechery, envy, gluttony, bravery, pride, vainglory, unrighteousness, and wilful ignorance. All these, as they seem, are indeed pernicious, but the former is most detestable, the end whereof is consumption of this earthly body, and destruction of the soul, which wellspring and puddle of evil, if thou wilt have dry up, cease from drunkenness. If not see it, have not a narrow and greedy eye upon a beautiful face. If no drink, yet stop thy mouth from busy questions with women. To conclude, if not therein be ducked and drowned, use labour, tame youthfulness. For in this I, overshooting myself, said Reuben to his children, defiled my father's bed. Therefore look not upon the beauty of women, muse not upon their doings, but keep yourselves occupied either in learning or some work. Charge your wives and daughters that they trim not their heads. Will them to chasten their looks. For every woman that deals deceitfully in those things is reserved for the punishment of the world to come. Which trade of life to eschew, seeing it is difficult, without the fulfilling of the law, and the law partly consisteth in mutual love, strive with Simeon, the second brother, to avoid strife which blindeth the mind, pineth the body, provoketh murder. The remedy whereof is both forgiving and forgetting. Take to thee Joseph's cheerful countenance, a perfect platform of a quiet mind, yet set before thine eyes Simeon's withered hand, a right plague for such a sin. All which disquietness and mischief safely to set aside, let not Judah be set apart. Gather by him experience, that for a man to glory in his own works is sinful, and he which upbraideth another man's vice standeth slippery. Judah checketh Reuben his eldest brother with his fornication. Mark, who sinned immediately but envious and railing Judah, did he not offend after the flesh in the Canaanite's house? Did he not take a wife without consent of his parents? Two great sins, and alas, in these our days, too much used, yet punished, the one with want, or at least small joy of children, saith Father Judah the Patriarch, but the other with intolerable danger of body and soul, saith St. Paul. Wherefore abstain from wine, abhor drunkenness, for such a one slandereth not, rehearseth not another man's sins, breedeth no sedition, but embraceth love and charity in a single heart, as good father Issachar, who never railed, nor was hurtful and spiteful to his neighbour, never eat his meat alone but gave part to the poor, never removed the bounds and marks of other men's grounds, but loved all men as his natural children. Oh, that as we read this, so we might express the same in life and conversation. Mercy and love is a precious jewel, the maintainers whereof being jointly connected prosper, once dissevered come to naught. For the waters, saith Zabulon, wash away their sand, when the stones and timber are dissolved, whose mercy and singular compassion was rewarded singularly. Sift his testament, resemble his rare charity in clothing the naked and feeding the hungry, known and unknown, as well strangers as his countrymen. Let not the spirit of Dan possess your mind. Suffer not the wrath of Gad to settle in your heart. For such work with three sore instruments, bitter speech, treachery, and violent hands, yieldeth fruit not much unlike, as you may read, as you may see. Wilt thou be taught the ready path to that thou dost seek? Two ways there be, saith Asa, vice the one, the other virtue. Nephthalim's race embrace the latter, eschew the former. But he that walketh in them both blindeth men, deceiveth himself, and mocketh God, whose double-faced dealing shall be double punished. Such are the covetous, such are they that are merciful in evilness, such are they, saith Asa, that fast from meats, but not from fornication. Have therefore a simple heart with righteous Joseph, the blessed of the Lord, that right figure of Yeshua Messiah. For hatred he showed love. Being cursed he blessed. Being shot through, he did not so much as bend his bow. Albeit his brethren would have slain him, albeit they cast him into a well, though they sold him as a bondslave, and that to strangers, and such as hated shepherds to the death, of whom he was whipped and tormented. Yet he, when they stood in fear, gave them comfort. When they were well nigh famished, gave them food. When by his authority he might destroy, he by his authority did preserve. Being their Lord, using them as his betters, being their brother, accepting them as his children. Their unkindness not spoken of, their conspiracies forgotten, their cruel dealing most lovingly, most mercifully forgiven. You have heard his love towards his neighbor, hearken to his obedience towards Jehovah. When he was miserably afflicted, did he rage and swell? When he was made a bondslave of a freeman's son, did he cry out on heaven? Being utterly forsaken, did he impatiently accuse Jehovah's justice? No, expectans expectavit dominum, and at the last the Lord which hid his face did show his countenance. Of a caitiff in respect making him free, of a freeman wealthy, of a wealthy subject an honorable personage, Lord President of Pharaoh's land, whom the Egyptians being alive loved, being dead loved, being rotten loved, whom living neither wealth nor woe could make to swell, neither promise or threats of the Egyptian strumpet could make slide, and therefore being dead, neither world, devil, nor man's policy could make forgotten. Oh, that our mortal race might thus begin, thus persevere, might thus, O Lord, most happily finish. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Learn therefore of Benjamin to inflame thy heart, that thou mayest be ready both in body and soul. Let us, saith Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verses 14 and 15, commend, and so say I, let us behold, the noble famous men and the generation of our foreelders. For many glorious acts hath the Lord done in them, and showed his great power ever since the beginning. Upon the consultation whereof, and especially for that I would have nothing wanting in this book that might serve thy contentation, I thought it as well pertinent to deal with the righteous father as with the godly children. For to shadow a face only without a body hath his deserved commendation. But whoso painteth a leg without a body, or a body without a head, it shall not be amiss, as I suppose, as well to term him a foolish painter, as to judge the thing undiscreetly painted. Wherefore, as well to see the head as the leg, and to hear the father as the children, I have faithfully drawn out of Scripture, and not according to my fancy fashioned, the death and testament of Jacob, that blessed and right happy father, added to this ancient monument of the children. Therefore, to recompense my pains, read them, but read them diligently. Neither read only, but be content to follow. For the imitation of good and godly men is the direct way and course to godliness. So may we account of Jacob's blessing, so may we thoroughly challenge to be his children. Children, I mean, not by flesh, but spirit. The Lord which made heaven and earth, the Lord which gave his Son to shed his heart blood for us, Jehovah which disposeth all things to his pleasure, prepare our King, increase our faith, and make us thankful for his benefits. The testament of Jacob, made at his death to his 12 sons, the patriarchs, concerning what should betide them in the last days, gathered out of Genesis, and added unto this book. Jacob, the son of Isaac, born of Rebekah, as it is written in Genesis chapter 25 verse 26, in the year of the world 2108, his father being 80 years of age, was a perfect man and righteous, dwelling in tents, not given to pleasure and hunting, as his elder brother, elder by nature, not by grace. For the elder shall serve the younger, as it is written, Romans 9:13. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated, saith the Lord. Why? Not for that Jacob had so deserved, but Jehovah had so appointed. Wherefore when he thus, by the determinate will of Jehovah, and heavenly disposition which ordereth all things whatsoever, had got his brother's birthright and his father's blessing, his parents, considering that the slippery days of carnal copulation did approach, and warily fearing his brother Esau, for that he conceived murder in his heart, and instituted a birthday for his devilish purpose, sent him from Bersaba to Mesopotamia, to Laban, his mother's brother, there honestly to take a wife, and quietly to live. For matrimony without consent of parents, and due consideration of either party contracted, as it breedeth their disquietness, so it provoketh Jehovah's displeasure. Jacob therefore, after long travel, being placed with his uncle Laban, and serving him 14 years in labor and pain, albeit he was the child of promise, the blessed of the Lord, born of a free woman, and that which is more, his uncle's bone and flesh, and Lord of Canaan, not arguing with himself as the worldly children of this earth, saying, Shall I, which am a free and wealthy man's son, be made a servant? Shall I be a drudge in my kinsman's house, being sent to marry and not to serve? Had given him by Laban to wife for his good service, by which Jehovah blessed that little that Laban had before his 2 daughters, Leah first, then Rachel, with their handmaids Bilhah and Zilpah, of whom, according to the promise made to him in Bethel, that his seed should be multiplied, he begat 12 sons, 12 godly fathers of the earth, viz. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. Thus, he, being blessed of the Lord as well in children as in substance, returned again to his native country, he and his children, there to live and there to die. But behold the divine providence of Jehovah. After 33 years expired, he was removed from Canaan to Goshen in Egypt, by means of his son Joseph, chief steward of Pharaoh's land, whom his brethren heretofore had sold. There, when he had lived 17 years, and seen his family increased exceedingly, to his great joy and comfort, no doubt, especially all the other countries about being plagued with a great famine, and he by Jehovah's mercy not greatly feeling the same, perceiving also his troublesome pilgrimage drawing to an end, called his son Joseph unto him, and said, If I have found grace in thy sight, O put thy hand under my thigh. For in this order they took an oath in Jacob's time, Deal mercifully with me, and truly, bury me not in Egypt, but let me sleep with my fathers. Where noting his sure faith in the promise of God made to his fathers, he willed him to look for Canaan, his hoped inheritance, and not to trust in Pharaoh's land. To which his request, when Joseph his loving son obediently did condescend, Jacob, taking a little more strength unto him and sitting up, desirous also to show forth the great goodness of the Lord in preserving him and his, said, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz, in the land of Canaan, and blessed me, saying, Behold, I will make thee fruitful, and cause thee to multiply, and will make a great number of people of thee, and will give this land unto thy seed for an everlasting possession. Thy sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, I take as mine own. Their own brethren shall be called after their name. As I came from Mesopotamia, Rachel died in the land of Canaan, and was buried by the way to Ephratah, the same is Bethlehem. Then Jacob, albeit somewhat dim for age, beholding Joseph's 2 sons, said, What are these? To whom Joseph answered, They are my sons, which God hath given me. O bring them to me, said Jacob, and let me bless them. I had not thought to have seen thy face, Joseph. Yet lo, God hath showed me thy seed. Jehovah, in whose sight my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, God which hath fed me all my life long unto this day, and the angel which hath delivered me from all evil, bless these lads, and let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and that they may grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Then as Joseph lifted his father's hand from Ephraim to Manasseh the elder, Jacob said, Let it be. I know well my son. He shall also be a great people. but his younger brother shall be greater. In thee let Israel bless and say, God make thee as Ephraim and Manasseh. After this, he fainting said, Behold, Joseph, I die. Jehovah shall be with you, and bring you again to the land of your fathers. Moreover, I give unto thee a portion of land above thy brethren, which I conquered by sword and bow of the Amorites. And come you hither also, O my children, that I may tell you what shall come on you in the last days. Gather ye together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, hearken unto Israel your father. Genesis 49. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed. Then defiledst thou it, he went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret. Unto their assembly mine honor, be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they digged down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise, thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies, thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp, from the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Issachar is a strong ass couching down between two burdens, and he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hind let loose, he giveth goodly words. Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of thy progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall ravin as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is it that their father spake unto them and blessed them. Every one according to his blessing he blessed them. And he charged them, and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burying place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife, and there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that is therein was from the children of Heth. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, having lived 147 years, he gathered up his feet into the bed, and yielded up the ghost, and was gathered unto his people. Then Joseph, falling upon his father's face and kissing him with tears, caused him to be embalmed by physicians to the space of 40 days. and mourned for him 60 days, who, departing from Egypt into Canaan with noble men of the land in chariots and horsemen, buried him in the place which Jacob had appointed. The testament of Reuben, made to his children at his death, concerning the things that he had in his mind by the suggestion of the spirit of foreknowledge. This is the copy of Reuben's testament, concerning all the things which he gave in charge to his children before he died, in the 125th year of his life, 2 years after the decease of Joseph. His children and children's children came to visit him in his sickness, and he said unto them, My children, I die, and go the way of my fathers. And seeing there his brethren Judah, Gad, and Asa, he said unto them, Lift me up, my brethren, that I may tell you and my children the things that I have hidden in my heart, for I am henceforth drawing to my long home. Then standing up, he kissed them, and weeping said, Hearken, my brethren, and you, my children, give ear to the words of your father Reuben. Mark what I give in charge to you. Behold, I command you this day before the God of heaven, that ye walk not in the ignorance of youthfulness and fornication, wherein I overshot myself, and defiled the bed of my father Jacob. For I assure you that the Lord did therefore strike me with a sore plague in my flanks the space of 7 months, and I had perished if my father Jacob had not prayed to the Lord for me, because he was minded to have slain me. I was 30 years old when I did this evil in the sight of the Lord, and 7 months was I sick to the death. And with a free heart did I 7 years penance before the Lord. I drank no wine nor strong drink. No flesh came within my mouth. I tasted not any fine bread. But I mourned for my sin, for it was great, and there shall none such be done in Israel. And now, my sons, hear me, that I may show you what I saw concerning the 7 spirits of error in my repentance. Belial giveth 7 spirits against a man, which are the well springs of youthful works, and 7 spirits are given man in bis creation, whereby all his works are done. The first is the spirit of life wherewith is created his being. The second is the spirit of seeing, wherewith cometh lusting. The third the spirit of hearing, wherewith cometh learning. The fourth is the spirit of smelling, wherewith cometh delight, by drawing in of the air and by breathing it out again. The fifth is the spirit of speech, wherewith knowledge is made. The sixth is the spirit of tasting, whereof cometh the feeding upon things that are to be eaten and drank. And through them is engendered strength, because the substance of strength is in meat. The seventh is the spirit of seed and generation, wherewith entereth in lust of pleasure. For this cause it is the last of creation, and the first of youth, because it is full of ignorance, and ignorance leadeth the younger sort as a blind body into the ditch, and as an ox to the stall. Among all these is the 8th spirit, which is of sleep, with whom is created the wasting away of nature, and the image of death. With these spirits are mingled the spirits of error, whereof the first is the spirit of lechery, who lieth within the nature and senses of man. The second spirit of unsatiableness lieth in the belly. The third spirit of strife lieth in the liver and in choler. The fourth spirit is of bravery and gallantness, that the party may seem comely by excess. The fifth is the spirit of pride, which moveth a man to mind over great things, or to think well of himself. The sixth is the spirit of lying or vaingloriousness, in boasting a man's self, and in desire to fill his talk concerning his own kindred and acquaintance. The seventh is the spirit of unrighteousness, which stirreth up the affections, that a man should perform the lustful pleasures of his heart. For unrighteousness worketh with all the other spirits, by taking guile unto him. Unto all these spirits is matched the 8th spirit, which is the spirit of sleep or sluggishness in error and imagination. And so the souls of young folks perish, because their minds are darkened and hidden from the truth, and understand not the law of the Lord, neither obey the doctrine of their fathers, as befell to me in my youth. But now, my children, love the truth, and that shall preserve you. Hearken to your father Reuben. Let not your eyes run a-gazing after woman, neither be ye alone with a woman that is married, neither do ye seek about what women are doing. For if I had not seen Bilhah bathing herself in secret place, I had not fallen into that wickedness. But my mind ran so upon the naked woman till it suffered me not to sleep till I had committed abomination. For while my father Jacob was away at his father Isaac's, and I in Geder hard by Ephrata, a house of Bethlehem, Bilhah fell drunken, and as she lay asleep uncovered in her chamber, I went in so, and seeing her nakedness wrought wickedness with her, and leaving her asleep, went my way. By and by an angel of Jehovah bewrayed my wickedness to my father Jacob, who coming home mourned for me, and touched not Bilhah any more. Therefore look not upon the beauty of women, neither muse you upon their doings, but walk ye with a single heart in fear of the Lord God, busying of yourselves about some work, and keeping yourselves occupied either in learning, or about your flocks, until such time as God shall give you such wives as he listeth, lest you do suffer as I have done. I durst not look my father in the face to his dying day, nor speak to any of my brethren for shame. My conscience biteth me even yet still for my sin. But my father comforted me, and prayed for me unto the Lord, that his wrath might pass away from me, as the Lord himself showed unto me. Therefore from that time forth I was kept from sinning any more. And you, my children, likewise keep to that I shall tell you, and you shall not sin. For fornication is the destruction of the soul, separating it from Jehovah, and making it to draw unto idols, because it leadeth the mind and understanding into error, and bringeth men to their grave before their time. For whoredom hath undone many men, and although a man be ancient or noble, yet doth this make him a laughingstock both before Belial and the sons of men. But Joseph, because he kept himself from all women, and cleansed his thoughts from all fornication, found favor both before the Lord and men. The Egyptian woman did much to him by using the help of witches, and by offering him slaughter sauces, but the purpose of his mind admitted no noisome desire. For this cause the God of our fathers delivered him from all death, both seen and unseen. For if fornication overrule not your mind, neither shall Belial prevail against you. Women are hurtful things, my sons, because that when they want power and strength against a man, they work guilefully to draw him to them by train, and whom they cannot overmatch in strength, him they overcome by deceit. For the angel of the Lord which taught me told me of them, that they be overmastered by the spirit of fornication more than men be, and that they be ever practicing in their hearts against men, first making their minds to err by decking of themselves, then shedding their poison into them by sight, and finally catching them prisoners by their doings. For a woman is not able to enforce a man. Therefore, my sons, fly fornication, charge your wives and daughters that they trim not their heads, and will them to chasten their looks. For every woman that dealeth deceitfully in these things is reserved to the punishment of the world to come. For by such means were the watchers deceived before the flood. As soon as they saw them, they fell in love one with another, and conceived a working in their minds, and turned themselves into the shape of men, and appeared to them in their companying with their husbands. And the women, by conceiving the desire of them in the imagination of their mind, brought forth giants. For the watchers appeared to them of height unto heaven. Therefore, keep yourselves from fornication, and if ye intend to have a clear mind, keep yourselves from all women, and forbid them likewise the company of men, that they may have also clean minds. For although continual companyings do not always work wickedness, yet breed they incurable stings to them, and to us everlasting shame before Belial, because fornication hath neither understanding nor godliness in it, and all enviousness dwelleth in the desire thereof. And for that cause shall ye envy the children of Levi, and seek to be exalted above them, but ye shall not be able to compass it. For Jehovah will avenge them, and you shall die a dangerous death. For unto Levi and Judah hath the Lord given the sovereignty, and unto me, and Dan, and Joseph hath he granted to be princes with them. Wherefore I charge you, hear Levi, for he shall know the law of the Lord, and deal forth judgment, and offer sacrifices for all Israel till the full time of Messiah, the chief priest, because the Lord hath spoken it. I charge you by the God of heaven, that every of you do deal faithfully with his neighbor, and stick unto Levi in humbleness of heart, that ye may receive blessings at his mouth. for he shall bless Israel and Judah. Jehovah hath chosen Judah to be the king of all people. Wherefore worship you his seed, for he shall die for you in battles both visible and invisible, and shall reign over you world without end. Reuben, having given his children the aforesaid charge, and blessed them, died. Then they put him in a coffin, and carried him out of Egypt, buried him at Hebron, in the double cave where his fathers slept. The testament of Simeon, made to his children at his death, concerning envy. The copy of Simeon's words which he spake unto his sons at his death, in the 120th year of his life, in the which Joseph died. For they came to visit him upon his deathbed, and he, sitting up, kissed them, saying, Hearken, my children, hear me your father Simeon, whatsoever I have in my heart. I am my father Jacob's second son, and my mother Leah named me Simeon, because the Lord heard her prayer. I became very mighty, I went through with my doings, and was not afraid of anything, for my heart was stout, my mind unmovable, and my stomach undiscourageable. For hardiness is given of the highest into men's souls and bodies. In those days I envied Joseph because my father loved him. I hardened my heart against him to kill him, because the prince of error sending forth the spirit of envy, so blinding my mind, that I could not take heed to spare my father Jacob. But his God, and the God of his fathers sending his angel, did rid him out of my hands. For while I went into Shechem to carry fare for our flocks, and Reuben into Dothan, where all our necessaries were laid up in store, our brother Judah sold him unto the Ishmaelites. And therefore, when my brother was come again, he was sorry, for he intended to have conveyed him safe again to our father. But I was angry with Judah for letting him go alive, and bare him a grudge 5 months after. Howbeit, God letted me, and restrained the working of my hands. For my right hand was half withered up for 7 days together. Then did I perceive, my sons, that befell me for Joseph's sake. Whereupon I repented soon after, and besought the Lord to restore my hand, and I would abstain from all rancor, envy, and folly. For I knew I had conceived a wicked thought against the Lord, and against my father Jacob, for my brother Joseph's sake, whom I envied. Now therefore, my children, keep yourselves from the spirits of error, and envy, for envy overruleth the mind of every man, suffering him not to eat or drink in rest, or to do any good thing, and is always egging him to slay the party whom he envieth, and pining away at his prosperity. 2 years together I punished my soul with fasting in the fear of the Lord, for I knew that the way to deliver me from envy was the fear of the Lord. If a man fly unto the Lord, the wicked spirit flieth from him, so as his mind becometh meek, and if spiteful, he becometh pitiful, bearing no grudge towards such as love him, and so his envy ceaseth. And because my father saw me sad, he asked me the cause of it. To whom I lied, saying, I have a pain in my stomach. For I was sorriest of all my brothers, for that I had been the cause of Joseph's selling into Egypt. And when I came unto Egypt, and was put in ward by him as a spy, then perceived that I was justly punished, and I was not sorry for it. But Joseph, being a good man, and having God's spirit in him, and being full of pity and mercy, minded not to do me any harm, but loved me as well as the residue of my brethren. Therefore, my children, keep yourselves from all spite and envy, and walk in singleness of mind and in a good conscience, after the example of your father's brother, that Jehovah may give you grace, glory, and blessedness upon your heads, as you see in him. Of all the days of his life, he did never cast us in the teeth with it, but loved us as his own soul, and more than his own children, honoring us and giving us riches, cattle, and corn abundantly. You therefore, my children, love ye one another with good heart, and put from you the spirit of envy, for it maketh a man's soul to grow savage, marreth his body, breedeth wrath and war in his thoughts, setteth his blood on fire, driveth him out of his wits, and suffereth no reason to bear any sway or rule. Moreover, it taketh away his sleep, disquieteth his mind, and maketh his body to tremble. For even in sleep some spice of imagined malice gnaweth him, cumbering his soul with spirits of mischief, making his body ghostly. and his mind affrighted with trouble, and appearing unto men, as it were with a pernicious spirit, and pouring out of poison. Therefore was Joseph fair of face, beautiful and comely to behold, because no wicked thing dwelt in him, for he had a countenance clear from cumbrance of mind. And now, my children, let your hearts be meek before the Lord, and walk right before man, so shall ye. Find favor both with God and man, and beware that ye fall not to whoredom, for whoredom is the mother of all naughtiness, separating a man from God, and sending him to Belial. For I have seen in Enoch's writings that you and your children shall be corrupted with whoredom, and do Levi wrong by the sword. But they shall not prevail against Levi, because he shall fight the Lord's battles, and take all your tents, and very few shall be divided in Levi and Judah, for he shall be your captain, as my father Jacob prophesied in his blessings. Behold, I tell you all these things aforehand, that I may be clear from the sin of your souls. Now if you put from you all enviousness and stiff-neckedness, all my bones shall flourish as a rose in Israel, and all my flesh as a lily in Jacob, and my savour shall be as the scent of Libanus, and my holy ones shall be multiplied as the cedars forever, and their boughs shall spread out in length forevermore. Then shall the seed of Canaan perish, together with all the remnant of Amalek. All the Cappadocians shall perish, and all the Scythians shall likewise be destroyed. Then shall the land of Cham fail, and all the people go to wreck. Then shall the earth rest from trouble, and all men under heaven from war. Then shall Sem be glorified, when the great Lord God of Israel appeareth upon earth as a man, to save Adam in him. Then shall the spirits of error be trodden under foot, and men shall reign over hurtful fiends. Then shall I arise again in joy, and bless the highest in his wonderful works. For God, taking a body upon him and eating with men, shall save men. And now, my children, obey Levi, and you shall be delivered by Judah. And advance not yourselves above these two tribes, for of them too shall the saving health of God spring unto us. For the Lord shall set up of Levi the Prince of Priests, and of Judah the King of Kings, God and man. So shall he save all the Gentiles and the offspring of Israel. For these things' sake, I charge you to command your children to keep these things throughout all their generations. And Simeon, making an end of these, his sayings and commandments to his children, slept with his fathers, when, as he was of the age of 120 years. And then they laid him in a coffin of wood that rotteth not, that they might carry his bones again into Hebron. And they conveyed him privily in the way of the Egyptians. For the Egyptians kept the bones of Joseph in the king's treasure, for their enchanters told them that whensoever Joseph's bones were carried away, there should be such a plague of mist and darkness among the Egyptians, as one brother should not know another, no, not even by torchlight. And Simeon's children bewailed their father according to the law of mourning, and continued in Egypt, till the day of their departing thence under the hand of Moses.